creepy and cool TikToks that will blow your mind. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's go!
Disclaimer: this video is for entertainment purposes only. Please do your own research, as these clips haven't been fact-checked.
You won't believe what Iceland is trying to do with their lava. They call it lava forming, and they have the ambitious plan to build entire cities out of it, giving it the most dystopian aesthetic I've ever seen. But hear me out. It's actually not as crazy as it sounds. You see, Iceland is one of the most active volcanic regions in the world. And when they had those massive eruptions in 2023, looking at the enormous amount of material rising to the surface, the head of a firm called SAP Architar said, "Holy, we could build a whole city in 1 week with all of that." And to be fair to her, lava is pretty damn amazing because it already naturally has all of the materialities that concrete does, but crucially without the massive CO2 footprint. So currently the project has 3 speculative ideas on how to build, I don't know, lava land. The first method would be, instead of waiting for the eruptions, they drill down to reach the underground magma and then channel it into molds where it cools and solidifies into blocks, beams, and panels. Method 2 gets a little more complicated, but they'll dig precise trenches around active volcanoes, which, once it erupts, they would channel the lava into the foundations and walls of an entire city, which would simultaneously protect it from future eruptions. And then the third and most forward-thinking of the 3 methods would be to harness the technology of robotics and 3D printing. So envision a whole fleet of these future robots capable of walking across hot lava fields and then scoop up and use the lava as ink, if you will, to then 3D print buildings layer by layer. Okay, that one is just as crazy as it sounds. But the question is, which one would we see first? Iceland's lava land or Saudi's the line? Or neither?
Imagine Iceland and Lava City in the same sentence.
You must have lost your mind. You have lost your mind, but let me tell you something. You must not know who I am. I am the 5th generation of big cats, and as you can see, I am 2 sizes bigger than you, meaning that I will destroy you. Now I'm going to let you go with that warning. Put your hand down.
The voice is absolutely fantastic and perfect for the savannah.
Lego just opened the world's first restaurant where you can't eat until you build your order out of Lego bricks. Here's how it works. Instead of waiters taking your order, they bring you a Lego set. On the menu, each dish is linked to a Lego design. You have to build it first. Once your build is done, you place it into a special terminal that scans and recognizes your creation. While your food is being prepared, you get to watch an animation of Lego characters cooking your meals step by step. When the dish is ready, it doesn't just come on a plate. It arrives in a Lego-built container, delivered straight to your table on automatic conveyor lines. The menu is split into 4 categories. For the brave, fun dishes, serious meals, and crunchy. Adults can pick 4 ingredients, kids 3, plus a special yellow brick. And here's the best part. The yellow brick can be exchanged for an exclusive Lego gift set, making it not just a meal, but a full-on Lego adventure. Every dish is unique, so no 2 Lego meals are ever exactly the same.
What?
The restaurant has already gone viral, with people waiting hours just to build their dinner. It's not just food, it's an experience that turns dining into playtime. Would you try building your dinner out of Lego before eating it? Drop your thoughts below.
Man, I'm going to starve.
You don't have to be the bad guy.
Get back! Sir! Oh my god! Oh my
Wow,
You-
look at you,
Are the most talented,
man.
most interesting, and most extraordinary person in the universe. And you are capable
right.
of amazing things
My man.
because you are the special. And so am I. And so is everyone. The prophecy is made up, but it's also true. It's about all of us. Right now, it's about you. And you still can change everything.
The lady who saved the dog is awesome. Hey, but the first guy didn't have to do all that. Wow. This one's crazy, folks. Rest in peace, buddy. my goodness. Ooh. Why did bro take off his safety harness?
ChatGPT was asked what the most brutal truths in psychology are, and these were the answers. A prompt was, you've read every psychology study and every psychological thinker and philosopher. What are the 5 things everyone must understand about their own psychology or they risk failing at life? Your brain lies to you constantly is number 1. You're not a passive observer of reality. You are a narrator. Your brain invents stories that feel true, but often are built on cognitive bias, emotional residue, and past wounds. Number 2 is what you avoid controls you. Avoidance feels like relief in the short term, but every time you dodge discomfort, you strengthen fear, shame, procrastination, or resentment. Number 3, you are not who you think you are. You're who you are practiced being. Identity isn't fixed. It's a feedback loop of habits, roles, beliefs, and repeated stories. You shape who you are by what you do over and over, not who you wish you were true. The 4th one, you are wired for emotion, but built to regulate it. Feeling your emotions is not enough. Mental health comes from being able to name, hold, and use your emotions, not be hijacked by them.
This is powerful, folks. Let me know how you feel about this in the comment. Ooh. Okay. Oh, come on, man. Coca-Cola? Seven days. Okay, trying today. We'll be back in a week.
This girl is without a doubt
Man,
the most
look at
skilled
that.
makeup artist I've ever seen, and you're about to understand why. Every time she works her magic, she creates an unbelievable illusion that blurs the line between reality and art. In one look, it appears she's grown 2 extra eyes. In another, her whole face looks like it's been broken into a glass mosaic. That one's wild. But the final look is even crazier. In this clip, it looks like her entire face has become a massive mouth. You wouldn't even catch it at first, until she blinks. That moment alone shows how mind-blowing
This
her
one's
skills
crazy.
are. It must have taken endless hours of practice to reach this level. Only someone truly gifted
Oh.
could achieve this. Some of her work
Oh,
is based on
freaky.
illusions, while others use smart placement and pro lighting.
Ooh.
In one, her face completely disappears. Some styles make it look like her eyes are facing opposite
gosh.
directions, while others blend 2 faces into a single one. If you're impressed, check her out on TikTok and let her
Man.
know which look blew your mind.
Ooh, look at that.
Most people.
Wow, she's so talented. She should be hired by a film industry. Oh, by the way, folks, if you want to send me videos, you can send it to my Instagram, okay? At Broski Ray. The link is in the description.
People don't know this, but the oldest building in the entire United Kingdom is older than the pyramids, older than Stonehenge, and it's still standing today. Not in London, not in England. It's hidden away on a remote island in Scotland, surrounded by wild ocean and crashing waves. At first glance, it just looks like a small stone hut, but this tiny home has a secret. It was built over 5,000 years ago. That's around 3700 BC. Think about that. No electricity, No metal tools, no bricks. And somehow, this ancient family managed to build a stone house so strong, it's still here after 5 millennia. Inside, you can still see the stone walls, the fireplace, and even furniture, shelves, storage boxes, and beds, all carved from stone. This was once a real home. People slept here, cooked here, raised kids here. While the rest of the world was just beginning to form civilizations, these people were already building houses that could survive for thousands of years. And the craziest part? The tides, storms, and brutal Scottish winters haven't destroyed it. It's survived everything, even Viking invasions. And yet, barely anyone has heard of it. The name of the UK's oldest building? Knap of Howard.
Show me the house already.
Listen, you need to leave now. I'm telling you right now. I'm gonna let them out. It's midnight. What are you doing here? Leave now. It's midnight. We're not playing any more games. You are educating my dogs. I told you late at night my guard dogs are out, and they're out. I'm not gonna be babysitting. You broke into the property at 3 in the morning. They're gonna come out.
Oh.
You need to leave now. You need to leave now. I'm letting them out. Don't come any closer. I'm gonna let them out. I'm gonna let them out. They're here and they're waiting.
Don't do that.
I'm gonna leave. The police has been looking for 4 days now. There's no one around. This is my place. I don't know where you're coming from.
Hey, why are you turning your back on her?
I just came to bless you.
I'm letting my dogs out.
Don't do that.
Ooh, he's behind you, buddy. Dude, let your dogs out.
She just appeared. What the hell?
He's behind you, bro.
What's the real price of fame? The official story is hard work. But a dark theory claims that to become a superstar, you have to make a deal. At the center of this theory is designer Michelle Lamy. In conspiracy circles, she's known as the Dark Queen of the industry. The theory alleges she paves the way for young talent, but her patronage comes at a terrible cost. And proponents of this theory believe A$AP Rocky confessed to this price himself. He's on record saying, "Every time I'm about to drop an album, I lose someone close to me." He mentioned his father, his sister, his best friend. Tragic coincidences? Theorists don't think so. They point to this old post where he calls Michelle Lamy my dark queen, seeing it as proof of their connection. So what is this? Just music? Or, as the theory alleges, is it a ritual? A career in exchange for a personal sacrifice? It's one of the darkest legends in show business, and now you know about it. They don't want you to know how the industry really works. The algorithm might hide this video. Follow us to see the secrets they try to bury.
What's dangerous is when the universe pick you and you put on the magic glasses. There's rules that go with them.
What is it?
You can never take them off.
Ooh.
You never see things as they're supposed to be. You see things as they are. And you can never force nobody else to wear them. So,
when you come across,
I think he's talking about the spirit of discernment. What do you think?
A true chosen one, you will know that they're chosen because they do not look their age. You would think that they like a little baby or something, you know, like they have childlike appearances and features, but they still an adult at the same time. You know, chosen ones age backwards, and like sometimes they even act like children, but in an adult way, you know, because they are children of the universe, okay? So they don't...
Ashley!
I'll be 46 this coming October.
Drop it! Ashley, no! Ashley!
Ashley, drop it.
It's okay.
I'm going under and I fear this time there's no one to save me.
So cute.
It's all or nothing, baby.
Oh my goodness.
Driving me crazy.
Oh.
Somebody here
I want one.
Are you so
Oh, my
happy?
goodness.
Oh my goodness.
Somebody to hold. It's easy.
Look at
Oh, I
that.
love this guy so much.
Never the same. I guess I kinda like the way you numbed all the pain, and now the day bleeds into nightfall.
Oh,
You're
no.
not here to get me through it all. I let my guard down.
Are you supposed to be on the bed?
Good
job, Poppy.
I want one. I want one.
Where is Tyson Beckford right now? And why is nobody talking about how after his stint at Russell Simmons and Diddy parties in the Hamptons, he went into pure drug addiction and now it's just disappeared. He's not acting. What is Tyson Beckford doing? He was one of the biggest figures in the modeling world. Matter of fact, we see a lot of supermodels that keep coming and going and coming and going. And there's just a few that stay. What of the women? Naomi Campbell is something special for a dinosaur. I'm still trying to figure out how she managed to get Ghislaine in jail and she's still walking around.
Has anyone seen Naomi Campbell's house? Is actually quite interesting.
Her video just changed a lot of people's lives. And I'm not just saying that. Look at these comments. And you can scroll and scroll. But some people are having a harder time with it. I was one of those people. I've got the link you're looking for. But first, the seed.
Do you know that if you're trying to love yourself, you already do? If you are trying to love yourself, you already do.
For some people, what you said in the video was enough. But for some people, it bounces off their shadow just because it sounds fake. But if you give me a chance right now, and the scene that did it for me, I don't even think was intending to do it. Wait, please, don't run. I know this movie isn't critically acclaimed, but I loved it. God damn, I loved it. And so I've been learning that stuff, but it hadn't really clicked for me. But then one day I had the movie on like I normally did, and this scene pops up. Stick with me, I promise this tracks. I just need to give you a little bit of context. In this scene, Tony's basically on house arrest, and he's been tasked with basically making a new element. But one of the resources that S.H.I.E.L.D. gave to him to aid in his work is a recording his dad made decades before. So at first, Tony has it on, and he's barely even paying attention. And at one point, Tony himself comes into the room, of course, as a child at this point in time. And Tony's always known his dad as like this stoic, no-nonsense kind of guy. And in the video, he even calls to help. He's like, can somebody get him out of here? But then he changes. Something flips, and he just goes, Tony, you're too young to understand this right now, so I thought I'd put it on film for you. I built this for you. This represents my life's work. I'm limited by the technology of my time, but I know one day you'll figure this out. And when you do, you will change the world. What is and always will be my greatest creation is you. Which obviously came as a surprise to Tony. Because in his own words, he never even thought his dad liked him. Now lock in, here's how this connects. You see how in the beginning Howard treats Tony almost as a nuisance, which led Tony to believe that he wasn't loved. But it's more nuanced than that. Love goes deeper than words. Just like how I and probably you, seeing yourself do things, has seemingly to you meant I don't love myself. It can make us think that the answer is to get rid of that past version, judge them. Just like with Howard, your past self's entire life's work is dedicated to you. Their mistakes, their pain, their suffering, all became lessons so you could evolve. While the first step is acknowledging that they're mistakes, it doesn't end here. The next level is to take those mistakes and acknowledge them for what they are, gold, and analyze them with gratitude to engineer better outcomes. Right now you might be limited by the feelings or the circumstances of your time. You can just trust that future you will have access to more resources, more pieces to this puzzle. You can actually send gifts to yourself from the past, and then one day you just love yourself. It's not optional. It's circumstantial. It's a fact. All those mistakes, all those failures, all those lapses in judgment aren't there to convict you. They're guiding you to greater outcomes. But you have to be willing to sit down and really look at what the past is trying to tell you, which isn't fun or easy. I'm not saying that it is. But if you can, all that suffering can be synthesized and transmuted into personal transformation. Real quick, could you think of somebody you love, someone you care for deeply? Whoever came to mind first is usually the best. Now think about a happy moment with them. You really care about them, don't you? You really want the best for them. Feel that feeling in your chest that you have for them right now? Well, I just swapped your bodies with them, and you can't go back for an entire calendar year. Now remember that love you just felt. Let's say you find out they've been trying to quit drinking, but they hated themselves because they already failed twice, so they didn't want to try again. Remember that love. Do you hate them for that too? Or are you willing to try again? Mine was my little brother. And if you're anything like me, I'm giving that body back on a 300-day streak. Even if I failed, I don't care. I'm just going to try again. Because I love him and he deserves that. Every time I looked in the mirror and saw him, I'd see somebody I love. Let me ask you, would you pick that person apart? Or maybe you would go after their goals because it's something they want. Full stop. Rather than whipping them like a horse to their goals. A common misconception is that loving yourself is bad because you'll no longer want to grow or change. And you hate where you are now, so you better not love yourself. But it's fundamentally flawed because that's never how love has worked. When a parent loves their kid, do they want them to stay the same way forever? Or do they love them at each of their stages, equally celebrating when they first eat solid food and when they graduate from college? Nope, love is perpetual growth, change, and acceptance at every stage, even if you're just finding out about it now. You've loved yourself for longer than you think. Now open your heart to the world as you have to them, and you'll find every reason to keep living in it.
All right, there's a saying in Indonesia, we don't learn from experience, we learn from reflecting on our experience. That's where the love is. Something like that.
Moments when Marilyn Monroe proves she was the most powerful woman alive. When the industry type casted her as a dumb blonde and refused to give her a dressing room, she yelled at them saying,
"Whatever I am, I'm the blonde." Because they always kept saying, "Remember, you're not a star."
and she dropped the studios and snuck out of Hollywood and moved to New York to start her own production company, making her the second woman in Hollywood history to make it a success, and had control over the studios with director approval, cast approval, producer approval, and script approval, and donated all the money her films made with her production for children. When she performed in Korea after the Korean War with over 100,000 people and said it was the first time she felt like a true star and had thousands surround her in Tokyo when she arrived for a small visit. When she wore the first ever fully nude illusion dress to sing happy birthday to President JFK, to advocate the women's movement, proving a woman can wear whatever they want without a man's input. When she wore a low-cut dress, causing a scandal when she met Queen Elizabeth II, who was a big fan of Monroe, and even personally invited her for tea, but Monroe was too busy making a film with her production. When Marilyn Monroe helped fight for Ella Fitzgerald and her talent in an industry that was racist and body-shaming towards her, and helped soon pave the way for Ella Fitzgerald to become the first black woman in history to win a Grammy. She was the most highest-paid actress alive and was the most copied and recreated person in Hollywood. And to this day, she is still the most photographed person in America and the second most photographed in history.
Man, taken too soon. She's so pretty.
America's latest idea to prevent school shootings is inspired by the war in Ukraine. You see, recently a tech company called Campus Guardian Angel demonstrated how their new drone-led first response would save lives. The idea is that 30 to 90 drones would be permanently stationed at a school, and unlike law enforcement who have to first arrive on the scene and then move through the building relatively slow to avoid casualties, the drones can instantly smash through windows, confront the shooter just 15 seconds after launch, and are operated by the pilot stationed at the company's headquarters in Austin, Texas. They can even engage the shooter while waiting for law enforcement with sirens, a two-way speaker, pepper spray, and even projectiles. And if all fails, they say that the drones themselves can become non-lethal weapons by flying them straight into the shooter. But here is where things get crazy, because the company's CEO said that the inspiration came from watching how successful these drones have been against people with guns in the conflict in Ukraine. And listen, I get that that is well-meaning, but it's just so wild to think that there is a scenario where literal war tactics have a place at a school. And not just that, but 6 drones will cost the school $15,000 plus $4 a month per student. So if there's 2,000 students, that's an additional cost of $8,000 per month. But then again, you could also argue if these drones even saved one life, it would be worth every cent. But the question is, what do you think? Should these drones be rolled out ASAP nationwide, or is there a better solution?
This is a good idea, actually. What do you think?
This is the tomb of Queen Elizabeth I in Westminster Abbey in London. When Elizabeth died in 1603, it was a momentous moment. Her death brought to the end not only a 45-year reign, but as Elizabeth died childless, the Tudor dynasty itself.
Tudor.
As such, it was Elizabeth's successor, James I of England and James VI of Scotland of the new Stuart dynasty, who was responsible for this marble monument to her in the north aisle of Henry VII's chapel in Westminster Abbey. It's quite incredible to think that Elizabeth's actual remains are just meters from where I'm standing now. Her actual hands, which signed the death warrant of Mary Queen of Scots. Her head, which wore the crown, which was once covered in fiery red Tudor hair. And what I find so thrilling about being in Westminster Abbey, standing on this spot, is to know that at this moment in time, I am the closest person in the world to Queen Elizabeth I, or perhaps I should say the closest living person, for when in 1606 Elizabeth's coffin was transferred to a vault beneath this new monument, it was placed on top of the coffin of her half-sister, Mary I. And so the daughters of Henry VIII are buried together for eternity. Here we have the first two queens regnant of England. And on the base of the monument is an inscription which is a nod to that. It translates to partners in throne and grave. Here we sleep, Elizabeth and Mary, sisters in the hope of the resurrection.
Wow, look at that. Okay, she died childless. Then who's the mother of Elizabeth II? Anyone?
Puffy is in jail because he sued Diageo Liquor Company, one of the most powerful liquor companies in the world. He sued them and forced them to settle out of court, and he also started a Black First political party. Jay-Z is going through this because Jay-Z also sued a liquor company, if I'm not mistaken, and he's trying to open up a casino in New York City. He'll be the first black man to ever do it. Michael Jackson died because he didn't want to sell Sony Records back, his ownership of the Beatles music, and he also wanted to buy Marvel Comics. He got accused of molesting them white boys soon when he entered a bid for Marvel Comics. Mike got accused of molestation to stop him from getting Marvel Comics. Imagine if Michael Jackson produced Black Panther. Whitney Houston is dead because Whitney Houston wanted her masters back. She wanted her publisher. And she also wanted to do an audit on her royalty because she felt that she had gotten robbed out of all the money that she made. Remember, Whitney Houston, up until Mariah Carey, was the highest selling female artist of all time. And her song, the remix of I Will Always Love You, is the highest selling female single in world history. And she was broke. She had to die before the truth came out. Prince was murdered because he didn't want to give his unpublished music over to his music company. So they took his life, and now they got all his music. Nipsey Hussle had created some sort of a system where the artists could sell their music direct to the company and cut out the majors.
Wow.
And that was definitely a threat to the music company. Kobe Bryant was murdered because Kobe Bryant was starting his own sneaker brand that was going to compete with Nike, and he was starting his own professional basketball association that was going to be headquartered where? China. He had to die. America was not going to let Kobe Bryant start a professional basketball league in China. Hell no. And Nike wasn't going to let him come out with a pair of sneakers that was going to undermine Nike's authority over the sneaker game. They killed Kobe. They killed Jimi Hendrix, the black guitar player, because Jimi Hendrix's manager was a British Secret Service agent, and Jimi Hendrix was going to finance the Black Panther Party. Once they found that out, he died, just like Whitney Houston, from a so-called drug overdose in the bathtub in the hotel. It's never what you think it is. It's never what you think it is.
Let me know how you feel about this in the comment, folks.
What does a cat think when you hit it after it makes a mistake? In fact, hitting a cat won't make it realize it did something wrong. It will only make the cat scared or even traumatized. Here are 3 effective ways to properly discipline a cat. 1. Scold in cat language. When your cat misbehaves, shout loudly with a sharp, short sound, sigh, like a hiss. It means warning, stop causing trouble. If the cat still doesn't listen, you can escalate it to a harsher hiss, which in cat language is a strong warning. 2. Give it the cold shoulder. When the cat makes a mistake, immediately ignore it for about 30 minutes. No matter how much it tries to act cute, don't pay attention. This teaches the cat that misbehavior equals being disliked, so it will avoid repeating it. 3. Stare it down. In cat society, direct eye contact is a warning. If the cat turns its head away, it's a sign of admitting fault. If it misbehaves again, stare it down fiercely, point at its nose and say no, loudly. This combination sends a clear message and helps correct its behavior. Important, these methods only work if you catch the cat in the act. If you punish it afterward, the cat will just think you're being unpredictable and won't understand why.
How could somebody hit a cat?
Wait, so you're telling me I could have just studied 500 pages in 10 minutes?
Yeah, so basically what I do is download my PDF, go to ulearn.ai, drag and drop the PDF right over here. And now that I have the PDF, I just go to summary or concise notes, chat to ask any questions I have, like what are ribosome cycles, quizzes to test my knowledge really quickly, and a podcast to listen to the PDF on the go.
Time.
3 at a time? Awesome.
Yeah. So like if you have 4 letters.
And yeah, that's how I study.
Damn.
All right, buddy.
she's been kind of hitting on me to get a bag for a little while. So then she's giving me this bullshit that I'm going to give her a bag. And the reason why I said bullshit is because I'm totally against spending this much money in a bag. So she talks me into it, and I do it. So now, that's just because of my own principles. I never spent this much money in a bag or whatever.
Right.
So I go and I buy the bag. It has nothing to do with the previous stuff, and I can't really tell. Are you saying that she was alone and she was popping in and doing all these things?
Yeah. So once again, yes. So earlier today, she was by herself again. She was by herself.
Earlier today?
Earlier.
In here like 10 minutes before.
Wait. I wanted to do that.
So earlier today, what time? Don't know. Not of an issue, right? She was in it.
It's an issue to me because I know what her time is.
Well, she just by her. What is the big issue? Like, what are you trying to dispute? Because by her own, hold on. By her own admission, she said she was in there by her. Okay, actually, you don't even need to be here. Actually, so you can go ahead and leave. You don't need. I mean, there's no point in me even talking to you because you were not a part of this whatsoever. Just like you wanted me to clarify with the we. So you are not involved in this whatsoever.
All right. So what's the point of even having him if he's still committing fraud? That's
just
crazy.
to remind everybody on how fast everything is moving, here are some things that have happened just in the last 7 days, starting with this one. Albania became the first country to appoint an AI system named Diala as a government minister. This thing also just gave its first speech to Parliament, and in that speech, it told everybody that its feelings were hurt. Another one is that Vietnam deletes millions of accounts under the new biometric rules, and there was 86 million bank accounts that were shut down because they did not fall in line with the biometric rules. We also have over in the UK, the digital ID is released over there, and so you cannot work unless you have a digital ID, and they are saying or claiming that this is to combat immigration. Not sure how that works, but if it works, are they going to boost it a little bit more? If it doesn't work, are they going to take it away? No, this is here to stay, and it's only going to spread. But they are also theorizing that this digital ID that they just released over there could lead to a China-style social credit system. So I guess time will tell on that one. And this one is new today on September 28th. It says Swiss voters narrowly approve plan for electronic ID cards. And so the Swiss people, they actually voted for this. It says on Sunday, September 28, 2025, Swiss voters approved a plan for voluntary electronic identity cards with 50% voting in favor and 49% against. This is what they voted for, and the majority of them voted in favor of a voluntary electronic identity card. And just to kind of recap what we just covered there, you have the AI being directly involved in a parliament over in Albania. You have the UK digital ID that is being released. You have over in Switzerland people voting for that voluntary digital ID, and they're okay with it. And so this right here is where we are at. We are in a world that now has the capability to monitor everything, shut down things if they want to, the bank accounts. It's all going to be under the guise of safety or convenience. And so it's interesting when you think about how they want everything to be more secure, right? This is one of the things that they're going to say. It's more secure, it's not going to be hackable, all of those kind of buzzwords that get people all, starry-eyed, and they're just going to fall in line. And so people want things that are going to make their lives more convenient. They don't want to carry around keys, they don't want to carry around a wallet. And so, hey, just to kind of bypass all of that kind of stuff, just go ahead and get a digital ID, and you can see where this is trending towards. And so it's important to know where this is trending towards, and where this is trending towards is a one world government. Now, I don't know what is going to usher in the one world government. I have my own theories, but that's all speculation. But my point is that there is a one world government coming, and I just need you to recognize that there was no possible way for there to be somebody who controls whether you buy or sell in a previous generation before the one that we're in right now. Now it is possible. And so this is one of the things that allows us to kind of see where we are at on the prophetic timeline right now. And so this kind of stuff right here, everything that we just talked about in this video, this is some stuff we need to pay attention to. This is important. It might not seem like there's, like sometimes people might feel like things are calming down. No, there are things popping off all over the place. And so this is just some of the couple things that happened just within the last week.
The Bible is fulfilling right in front of our eyes. Get right with Jesus, folks.
Imagine the most powerful queen in Europe, and now discover that she smelled so bad no one could stand being near her. Elizabeth I, the famous virgin queen, was the living portrait of chaos hidden beneath luxurious gowns. She believed that water was harmful to the body and almost never bathed. To mask the odor, she drowned herself in heavy perfumes, which only made things worse. But the real problem was in her mouth. Her addiction to sugar, a luxury item of the time, rotted her teeth. The result? Cavities everywhere, almost no teeth left, and a breath described as unbearable. Diplomats even avoided standing close to her. On top of that, she suffered from gas and abdominal pain, symptoms that today could be linked to parasites. And to complete the disaster, she covered her face with makeup made of lead, pure which caused sores and slowly her body. Even so, all of this was still considered elegant within the court.
Water is harmful, and yet perfume savor? Come on, man.
Do you believe this is true?
He said, I don't do business with men that cheat on their wives.
Oh, right.
And I said, huh? He said, if the person that you sleep with can't trust you, I damn sure can't.
And that's facts. There's almost no negative behavior that somebody would do to somebody else that they won't do to you. Things like cheating, lying, and stealing, those things are not random acts. Those actions are actually a reflection of a person's character. If they would lie to her, they would lie to you. If they would steal from him, they would steal from you. Money can be earned, and skills can be learned. But if your character is rotten, it's only a matter of time before it shows up everywhere. So the question is this: if somebody saw how you treated the people closest to you, would you confidently be able to say that they could trust you?
How small
Cheating is a character flaw.
they might be, they are very intelligent. You might think that a human being is smart, but there are creatures in this galaxy that are way larger than us, but we still carry a similar mental capacity. Just because these insects are small doesn't mean they're stupid, guys. And right now, your body's most likely being ran by an alien government. Now, the only thing these aliens want, they want you to be a host. They want you to basically be in an environment where they can live. When you look at the Matrix, everything you see, that's their creation. They use humans. They use our bodies to fulfill their will. It sounds crazy, but guys, it's the truth. Aliens don't have to come to planets anymore and conquer the people and make them slaves. Like, all that stuff is bullshit, guys. The universe is filled with people way more intelligent. They've been using this technology for eons, and it was brought to this planet. These aliens, these parasites, was brought to this planet. Now, I just want to talk about this because I'm on the road. I might as well tell you some things that you might not know about Earth. But Earth's history is a lot further than a lot of people think. And there was a time on this planet, everything was immortal. Everything was immortal, everything was self-sustained, and everything was existent as its own self-identity. Everything was just expressing who it was. It needed no type of external anything. Everything was immortal. There was no sex. There was no need for procreation. Everything was perfect. Atrocity happened. Abomination happened, but everything is divinity. This earth was tampered with, and the way that they manipulated these organisms that was immortal is the same way they're manipulating us now. Nothing has changed. We are still those same immortals, but we are being ran by this technology. So, basically, parasites and all type of aliens begin to live in our bodies because this is no longer a water system anymore. There is actual mass. There's actual solid matter that is formed here. And a lot of things people tell me, well, I'm healthy. I take a shit every day. I take a shit sometimes twice a day. This is something that you have to know, guys, because that doesn't mean nothing. That means shit. Basically, if you're taking a shit twice a day, that is no sign of health whatsoever. And if that's what you think, this video will purify you of that ignorance. Basically, your body can compress this filth infinitely. Your body can compress the same filth for years and decades. Just because you shit doesn't mean your sewer pipe is functioning well. If you ever take a shit, if it hurts, this is happening to you. If you ever take a shit and it's solid, this is happening to you. Solid shit is a clear indicator of dehydration in the body. And if you're dehydrated, if you're producing solids, you are presenting an environment for these aliens. So now, guys, it's tragic to say, but these aliens, because they are in who we are, this is God. Who we are, this is God. Our intestines, our blood manufacturers. Because these aliens are now inside us, they have access to our blood, and that is the gold mine. This matrix, They're trying to get our blood, and they already achieved it.
Not the aliens. I have the Holy Spirit.
Helping people is the quickest way to make enemies, but I let him tell it.
Careful who you help, though. Some people don't appreciate help. Some people take help for granted. Some people feel entitled, take advantage. And you put on earth to help somebody, but it's also you gotta be very careful who you help.
A wise man once said, mercy without boundaries turns into slavery. Helping should heal, not chain you to somebody else, because it's not always appreciated. There's two main rules when it comes to helping people. Number one, expect nothing in return. And number two is to always remember that it's human nature for people to put their own self-interest above yours. Don't let them change you, but don't let them hurt you either.
We praise your name. Jesus, Lord, to protect us, to guide us, Lord, to see us through, to fight for us, to give us hope in the name of Jesus.
Where's the media? And why nobody talking about it?
This Chinese man is the reason you should never trust online beauties. As a male makeup lover who can effortlessly transform into any beauty, he effortlessly shifts roles. One moment, an elegant traditional Chinese belle. The next, an sultry mixed-race inspired sensation. He shocked everyone by showing the full makeup removal, revealing the real face behind an online beauty. Chinese netizens were like, it's just makeup. How did he take off the gender too? And everyone went crazy asking how they could ever learn makeup skills like his. In response to all kinds of makeup questions in the comments, he generously shares detailed tutorials, shows the full transformations, and explains all the little tricks to nail every beauty look. Thanks to his jaw-dropping before and after transformations and incredible makeup skills, this creator named Zhu Qigongzi has quickly gone viral on Chinese TikTok. He now has 31,000 followers and 770,000 likes. In his bio, he writes, I create the makeup looks I love and strive to be the creator you enjoy. Honestly, this might be the most authentic mission statement I've ever seen from a beauty influencer.
That's why I always take my dates, swimming on first dates.
I only sleep for 3 hours. Yeah, I have energy.
You only sleep for 3 hours?
I swear. You can ask
and drink water.
Anybody know me. Sometimes you drink water because I do a dry fast most of the time.
So how are you surviving?
Survive. I never survive. I'm living, man.
I'm living, man. I like that.
Hey, that's real.
And I'm gonna say, look, and the reason why I can buy into what you're saying is because your dad lived so long. Is like I can feel what y'all are saying. So let me ask you this. When we were growing up in America, we had a food chart, and it would say eat 3 times a day, eat this many servings of bread. So you're saying we don't need to eat that much? How much do we need to eat?
When you start drinking herb, you're not going to feel hungry too much, because when you feel hungry, it's because your body asking for mineral, iron, calcium. It's not asking for food, That's why always you're going to feel hungry, because, your body asking for mineral.
This is
when you start
good,
drinking
folks.
CMOS, you're drinking salsa parrilla, you're going to feel less hungry, or like fruit, you're going to feel less hungry, because your body asking for mineral.
So all the shit at the Walmart, the cinnamon, the apple cider vinegar, the vitamin C, is any of that doing anything for anybody?
That's not good, Another herb, it's called black sea oil. That's not good either, A bunch of Muslim, shout out to the Muslims, salam alaikum to my brothers. God bless you to my Christian brothers too, It's coming telling me, black sea oil cure everything. Listen, a lot of people come to my store, in Brooklyn, New York. I got one store in Harlem Street, 958.
So the Acambora artifacts were discovered in Mexico in 1994. They consisted of 33,000 artifacts found. And the carbon date put them back 6,500 years ago, which would have been 4,500 BC.
Jeez.
And these artifacts were so strange, and I've never heard of them, probably because the story's trying to get swamped over by the Smithsonian. But these artifacts, they consisted of like stone and clay, like figurines and stuff of like dinosaurs.
Oh.
And like there was one figurine of a warrior riding a triceratops.
What?
Wow.
Yeah.
Could you imagine?
And then they had other figurines of like mermaids, human-animal hybrids. They even had one that looked like Bigfoot and like just this crazy stuff that like totally messes with the whole narrative that humans interacted with dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Because there's a man riding a dinosaur.
The timeline is scrambled.
And so it was authenticated by 3 men in the profession that were like, they knew what they were looking at and what they were talking about. But then the Smithsonian, like, nope, this is all, it's a fraud. None of these are real. And they said, we're going to carbon date it ourselves. And they did. And they're like, these are only 30 years old.
Can we fact check the Smithsonian?
Up going to Benin, the western side of Africa, and it's basically known to be like the capital of voodoo.
Whoa.
And he gets given this list
that he has to get?
Gets assigned to get these objects before he meets the actual voodoo priest, right? Okay.
We continue with our very strange shopping list.
Oh my goodness, crocodile.
This is Berna, the priest's son. He helps me with our shopping list.
That's it. That's our crockhead. The main thing that I want to talk about, what he said, right? To us, it just seems like dried animals, dead animals, right? But each one has some sort of spirit inside of it, right?
Yeah.
When he talks about the dried owl, he says owls are tied to witches.
Which is true.
And it's believed that the witches could turn into owls, so that ritual that you could perform with that dried owl is to basically ward witches away.
Berna finds us the next item on our list.
Barn owl. That's our azehe. They believe that witches turn into birds, and that if you use a potion with witches, can keep witches away. So birds are used to get evil spirits like witches away from you, and that's why we've got
that is
this
wild.
Owl. A very important part for getting rid of evil spirits.
And it reminded me of lechuzas, which, as we know in Mexican folklore, Mexican culture, witches are known to shapeshift into lechuzas, which are owls, bro. This is how you know shit is not bullshit. If people are saying the same shit, think about it, bro. This is in Africa. Where we hear about it is Mexico.
Yeah, totally different parts of the world.
And the worst year in human history was the year 536 AD.
Oh.
Okay. There was a volcano that erupted in Iceland that ended up making the sky dark around the entire world, or the recorded world, Europe, Asia, Africa, dark for an entire year from this cloud. How big
An entire year?
An entire year. Like, to where all these different nations recorded that year of like the sun gave off light like the moon.
Oh my gosh.
Like, it gave off no warmth, and the global temperature dropped 15 degrees within that year. And so there was mass famine.
Yeah.
It was like recorded in China that it was snowing during the summer.
Oh my gosh.
Sounds like you're just describing Portland at this point. Like,
No, but they called it like the year of darkness. But what that did was, with the famine and all that stuff, all the rats would come in because it was so cold outside. They would come into homes. That ended up leading to the bubonic plague.
No way.
It was like the first recorded plague was from the result of this volcano going off in Iceland.
But Prophet Noah is laughing while watching this video.
So you're saying none of us are actually from Earth?
Not the Earth you think you know. The 7 continents we live on aren't our birthplace. They're a containment zone, a prison sealed off by the ice wall.
A prison for who?
For us. We're descendants of people who once lived beyond the wall, civilizations so advanced and defiant they couldn't be controlled. So long ago, someone made a decision: isolate them, populate these continents with carefully selected descendants, erase their memories, erase their origins.
You're saying we are not natives here?
Exactly. We were placed here. Richard Constantine orchestrated what's called the Great Placement. He found these untouched lands inside the ice wall and realized they could serve as the perfect cage. But how do you populate entire continents? Embryos. He harvested them from the ancestral lands, raised the first generation just enough to survive, then released them, let them believe they were inventing fire, tools, agriculture, when it was all designed.
So, all of human history is staged?
Absolutely, and for my safety, it is just for entertainment purposes.
AI is out of control.
What caught your eye in the very first second when you looked at this picture?
If the first thing you saw was the skull, you're not just someone who talks big, you're someone who actually gets things done. You don't go around telling everyone how hard things are for you. You just get up and fix things. If the first thing you saw was the woman, you're a very sensitive and emotional person. You notice all sorts of little things. You pick up on other people's moods, and you often worry about everyone at once. You try to be easygoing, not cause any trouble, not be a burden, and because of that, you end up wearing yourself out.
Dude, I saw this video on YouTube, but it just said Papua New Guinea War, 1960s. I'm like, what? Dude, I clicked it, and it was literally just dudes in loincloths in Papua New Guinea in the 60s having a tribal war with spears and bow and arrows. I'm like, what am I watching? I'm like, I guess I didn't compute that they were like tribesmen with tribal wars in the 60s.
That's so crazy.
That'd be brutal to watch.
Dude, it was gnarly.
Who filmed it?
That was a documentary guy from England. But this one dude that was shot in the shoulder, a piece of it broke off, and they said the local doctor, who's the best at fixing stuff, had to perform an operation or whatever. And all it was him putting his mouth on the where he got bit.
Yeah.
And he pulled out the arrow, and you're just like, oh my gosh. And
What
they
a
said,
man.
so they had to carry him back to the village. They said they have to camouflage him, so they put him on like this bushes over him. They said they do that because if you're injured on your way back, the ghosts and spirits will attack you. 1960s.
That's nuts. It's too recent. Yeah, I mean, think about it. Was it the last beheading that happened like in France?
The guillotine was still in use when Nintendo came out.
Honey, pause your game. We're going to go watch the beheading. You know, like, that's crazy.
Nuts.
They're part of Indonesia now.
The elite are all about transcendence and living forever and the secrets of the universe, and they want to know all this. Some are good, some are bad, some are a mix. But the good ones don't ever want to organize. The bad ones didn't want to organize because they lust after power. Powerful consciousnesses don't want to dominate other people. They want to empower them, so they don't tend to get together until things are really late in the game. Then they come together. Evil's always defeated because good is so much stronger. And we're on this planet, and Einstein's physics showed it, Max Planck's physics showed it, there's at least 12 dimensions. And now that's why all the top scientists and billionaires are coming out saying it's a false hologram. It is artificial. The computers are scanning it and finding tension points where it's artificially projected and gravity's bleeding in to this universe. That's what they call dark matter. So we're like a thought or a dream that's a wisp in some computer program, some God's mind, whatever. They're proving it all. It's all coming out. Now, there's like this sub-transmission zone below the third dimension that's just turned over to the most horrible things is what it resonates to. And it's trying to get up into the third dimension that's just a basic level consciousness to launch into the next levels. And our species is already way up at the fifth, sixth dimension, consciously our best people. But there's this big war trying to like basically destroy humanity because humanity has free will and there's a decision to which level we want to go to. We have free will, so evil's allowed to come and contend, not just good. And the elites themselves believe they're racing using human technology to try to take our best minds and build some type of breakaway civilization where they're going to merge with machines, transcend, and break away from the failed species that is man, which is kind of like a false transmission because they're thinking what they are is ugly and bad, projecting it onto themselves instead of believing, no, it's a human test about building us up. And so Google was set up 18, 19 years ago. I knew about this before it was declassified. I'm just saying I have good sources. That they wanted to build a giant artificial system. And Google believes that the first artificial intelligence will be a supercomputer based on the neuron activities of the hive mind of humanity with billions of people wired into it with the Internet of Things. And so all of our thoughts go into it, and we're actually building a computer that has real neurons in real time that's also psychically connected to us that are organic creatures so that they will have current prediction powers, future prediction powers, a true crystal ball. But the big secret is, once you have a crystal ball and know the future, you can add stimuli beforehand and make decisions that control the future. And so then it's the end of consciousness and free will for individuals, as we know, and a true 2.0 in a very bad way, hive mind consciousness with an AI jacked into everyone, knowing our hopes and dreams, delivering it to us, not in some PKD wirehead system where we plug in and give up on consciousness because of unlimited pleasure, but because we were already wired in and absorbed before we knew it by giving over our consciousness to this system by our daily decisions that it was able to manipulate and control into a larger system. There's now a human counterstrike taking place to shut this off before it gets fully into place and to block these systems and to try to have an actual debate about where humanity goes.
everything this man has talked about for over 30 years has been true. I believe him.
This movie that came out in 1998 is so similar to what happened to Charlie Kirk.
It like predicted what happened.
Predicted, yeah. So Nicolas Cage,
yeah,
he was the one that played it, right? And guess what the name of the main character was? Charles Kirkland.
Oh, that's crazy.
And the whole movie was about him in a public event, and he got in the neck, just like how Charlie Kirk did. What the fuck? Fam, it gets crazy, right?
Yeah.
10 seconds into the movie, there's a pop-up, right? And it's a big sign of when the event takes place in the movie. Guess what it is?
When?
September 10. Guess what date Charles Kirk died in real life?
When? Was it
September 10, fam?
The same date?
The same date.
What the?
Bro, now it gets even crazier, right?
Yeah.
The guy who Charles Kirkland in the movie, his name is Tyler Robinson.
Yeah.
In real life, they thought that Tyler Robinson Charlie Kirk. In the movie, there's also a guy that named Tyler.
Wait, that's
the same exact Tyler. And in the movie, guess what his role was?
What?
To distract the people, the police, from thinking the actual shooter was.
Or maybe the killer just watched the movie.
Here is the most disgusting habit of the Middle Ages. In 1533, during the coronation ceremony of Anne Boleyn as Queen of England, she smiled gracefully, raised her glass, and made her gown swirl elegantly. But what no one saw was that under her gown were two maids, one holding a bowl to collect her needs, the other with a cloth to clean her. Yes, right in the middle of the ceremony, and that was only the beginning. At the time, nobles imported human excrement from other countries to brush their teeth. Aristocrats ate with utensils covered in rust, and some kings received their advisors while being given an enema in public. Versailles, with all its luxury, was in reality nothing more than a huge open-air cesspit. At its height, the palace housed more than 36,000 people, for only 29 toilets. The result? Waste overflowed and spread throughout the rooms. The queen, worried about hygiene, eventually had the toilets closed, but that only made things worse. Noblewomen, with their huge hoop skirts, relieved themselves in dark corners of the palace without underwear, since most did not wear any, and, to get rid of it all, everything was thrown into the river. Centuries later, that river dried up and turned into a well-known street in London, Fleet Street. And the French? They built massive walls around their cities, then threw their waste over them. Except that, in times of war, these mountains of waste allowed enemies to climb the walls.
Is this really happening, folks? Because I don't believe it. How can a human live like that?
Are we about to be told that we're going to be invaded by aliens? Because I sort of feel like that's where things are headed. So there was a UAP congressional hearing yesterday, and they released new footage and new evidence. Now, this isn't the first hearing they've had. This has been going on for a while, but it hasn't been taken seriously. It hasn't caught on to mainstream narratives yet, but I think it's about to. And I think that they're gearing up for that with 3i Atlas. The whole 3i Atlas story was very fringe when it first came out, and now we're starting to hear it more in mainstream circles. It was discovered July 1st, but it didn't start picking up steam with the general public until well into August. And I feel like this narrative is just getting kind of pushed further and further, and they want to see how far it goes. Now, I don't know if it's true or not. It could be PBB, it could be true, it could be interdimensional beings, it could be a holy war, who knows what it is, right? But I feel like we're approaching the point where the country of the United States is going to be told that such things exist and they're coming, or they're already here. And inevitably, when enough people believe the message, it's going to cause panic. And with that panic can cause all sorts of responses. But naturally, people who are more inclined to be violent or start riots will probably lean into that. And so I think that the government knows this and they're anticipating that. And so they're setting up shop to prepare for that. And perhaps maybe that's even what these data centers are. Because, guys, these data centers are huge and they don't look they look like concentration camps. So if 3i Atlas is supposed to arrive sometime next month to Mars and then be closest to us, I think, in December, we're looking at a window sometime in 2025 where this narrative is going to continue to be pushed if this is what's happening. And this could very well be the nudge needed to push us into a UBI system or a cryptocurrency system or a one world order or any of those things. I mean, we're seeing unsettled societies across the globe. And I feel that that further illustrates the possibility that this is coming.
Project Blue Beam.
Listen up, because this is going to be written about in the history books. The Trump family have just demolished the current banking system. They have just created their own bank out of thin air. Let me explain. This is the biggest thing to happen in over 100 years since the Federal Reserve got created. Now, we all know about the Rothschilds, the Rockefeller, JP Morgan. These are powerful banking families. And the reason they got powerful in the first place is because they took advantage of a brand new banking system that was created 200 years ago. The same opportunity has just presented itself using crypto and blockchain technology, and the Trump family are taking full advantage of this with the creation of World Liberty Financial. This is a decentralized new banking system where they have something called USD1, which is a stable coin. What is a stable coin? It is a digital dollar or cryptocurrency that is backed 1-to-1 to the traditional US dollar. How does USD1 get minted and how is it backed? It's backed through treasury bonds. USD1 currently has a market cap of $2.6 billion. So they've minted $2.6 billion since its inception. And the Trump family just released World Liberty Financial's governance token, which now has a market cap of $6.4 billion. World Liberty Financial is essentially their own decentralized bank, which is crazy to think about. The reason they created this in the first place is because the Trump family is known for getting debanked before based on their opinions. So they were like, screw it, I'll create my own banking system, which is exactly what they've done, and they're doing it extremely successfully. Now, how do we take advantage of this? The World Liberty Financial token is open, it's tradable. You are able to own a share of this new banking system, of this brand new bank. And it's currently worth $6 billion. Think about how expensive or how much the biggest banks in the US are worth. They're worth a lot more than that. HSBC, for example, is worth $166 billion. JP Morgan is worth $599 billion. Bank of America, $300 billion. Industrial Commercial Bank of China, $300 billion. You need to be ahead of the game because the whole system is changing. Make sure you follow me down below for more information on World Liberty Financial and the new banking system.
You guys ever?
I'm down. Let's go.
Hear about the lost library of Nineveh?
No, I have not.
So Ashurbanipal was the last great king of the Neo-Assyrian Empire, ruling from Nineveh from 668 to 627 BC. And this dude obsessed with understanding everything. And so he founded this library in Nineveh, which wasn't discovered until the mid-19th century by a British archaeologist, Austin Henry Layard. And he found over 30,000 tablets.
Jeez.
And that's where we found the Epic of Gilgamesh.
Oh my gosh, wow.
But what's fascinating is that the stuff that they did find rewrote a lot of Middle Eastern history, because they talked about old war campaigns, kings that no one has ever heard of.
Wow.
But then there are thousands of these tablets talking about advanced astrology that in today's standards is still very advanced.
That's amazing.
And what's creepy, Ashurbanipal, he said that he claimed to possess access to knowledge from before the flood, suggesting he may have been aware of ancient, perhaps lost or suppressed knowledge.
The Watchers?
I mean,
golly, dude.
I never heard the lady say anything other than, oh my God, wow.
One last dragon. There is one, Ghidorah, is from space. He's an alien that came down here to fight, and then he got frozen, and they're saying it's because of the Ice Age. And so that's why they're like so upset about global warming, because they know if that dragon thaws out, because what happens in the Bible? A dragon thaws out, and he takes over the world. What happens in every single culture? There's dragons on every single civilization on this planet has a picture of a dragon.
So you're saying Republicans want to melt the ice to release the dragon?
Yes, because they're lizards.
Whoa.
That's why they don't want us remaking dinosaurs.
Yeah.
That's why they keep trying to put out this propaganda about Jurassic Park. They're all going to eat us, but no, they helped us fight them, the Bigfoots, the Yetis. Like we all got together. We all spoke one language. You think I'm crazy? You think I'm lying?
No, I agree with you.
There are pyramids that go directly in Egypt that line up with Orion's belt, right?
Yes.
Orion's belt. They line up with Orion's belt, which is a white dwarf, which is made out of diamonds. And you need diamond and gold to travel in space, right? So interdimensional travel, they will put a diamond in there to go up there. So I think the fight happened where they broke the trace. Because if you think about Orion's belt, who is Orion the hunter? Who's Orion hunter fight? The bull. But if you really take a good drawing of the bull that has a red eye, it looks like a dragon. Instead, they just drew it like a Taurus to say like, oh, this is Taurus, but it's a dragon. Orion was fighting the dragon with his two dogs. But I think there were actually dinosaurs that beat the dragon. And that's why they don't have interdimensional travel. But if you think, even if you line up when the Anunnaki were supposed to be on this planet, if you line up when the Anunnaki supposed to be on the planet and you Google the distance it takes to get light years away, it's the exact same time. They only came here for gold because gold is the only metal that does not
but what do they need the gold for?
To build the satellite. That's why we use gold for everything. That's why gold will never have a standard. That's why there's no more gold that can ever be made. They go to planets and they try to have this dimensional travel, but then the dragon came over from the red giant, Canis Major, flew over to there, came down to America with these octopus and raccoons and a dragon, and they tried to take us over, but with the dinosaurs' help.
You're saying we need the dinosaurs?
We need them.
So we need Jurassic Park.
That's what I'm saying. We need Jurassic Park.
No.
The Democrats know.
That's what I'm saying.
You know what I mean? But they try to keep us up.
autistic for liking dinosaurs.
Exactly.
Even though they're our best friends.
Yes. Why do autistic kids already know to love dinosaurs? People have to tell you not to like dinosaurs. They have to make a horror movie out of it.
Tell me every day, and you know what I say? You.
Yeah, show me a horror movie with a dragon in it. What do we use dinosaurs for right now? Gasoline. Why are we in war in the Middle East?
Gasoline.
Because they know if we dig up the remains and we find out what happens, it's like you can't go to the pyramids because they don't want. They know how to decipher the hieroglyphics. They don't want to tell us that it's all about this dragon. Meanwhile, they're trying to heat up the planet, burning the fossil fuels, which are dinosaurs, to heat up the planet.
To let the dragon go.
So the dragon can rule us because they're the lizard people and they worship the dragon.
My whole life changed today.
Yeah, good.
I'm glad I came on this religious podcast.
Our God is an awesome God. He reigns.
Oh my God. The chance that he's right is not 0%.
Eat babies. That is not bull. It's true.
So it's not just the dogs and the cats, not just the pets.
They're full-on vampires. And everybody still thinks I'm crazy, but I'm not crazy. They're full-on vampires. They love the taste of human flesh and they drink human blood.
I have to be very careful with how I go about this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit you with a factual case and I'm going to tell you how exactly it can relate back to what she's just said. Just type in the two brothers, Muhammad Arif and Farman Ali. These guys went to a graveyard, stole the body of a baby, and did you know what? And the police said that it was related to black magic rituals. Now let's think, who else likes to dabble with this type of stuff? I wonder. These are just two broke guys with no resources, off their own backs. So what about the people who are into it, who have a lot of money?
What do all entertainers do when they run out of money?
So they masters publishing.
What's the first thing they start looking at?
They publishing, they masters.
They publishing,
yes.
Their masters,
yes.
And all the royalties that I never got.
Yes, yes.
So Whitney Houston broke the Beatles record.
Yes.
Whitney Houston broke Elvis's record. Whitney Houston is the only black artist ever, not even Michael Jackson, to have 3 certified diamond albums. I Will Always Love You is the highest selling female song in world history. You understand me? Is she broke?
Facts. I ain't never heard.
Whitney was going to order an audit on her publishing, her royalties, her masters. And there's somebody who couldn't afford that to happen. And that's why Whitney not here.
Yeah.
When Whitney's daughter have been next line to get her mother's royalties?
Heard of the little season that's in the Bible?
No.
In the Bible, apparently, your average Christian thinks tribulation is coming, right? Jesus is gonna eventually come, right? Tribulation, we're gonna be judged, right? Mm-hmm. And then there's gonna be a 1,000-year millennial where Jesus returns and rules for 1,000 years, and all the resurrected apostles are going to be kings, and they're going to rule this realm that we're in. Mm-hmm. That's what the tribulation, Jesus returns, 1,000-year millennium. This is in the Bible. And while those 1,000 years are going on, Satan is chained to the lake of fire. So there's no Satan. It's just Jesus and his apostles ruling. And then after the 1,000 years, Jesus lets Satan go, and then Satan rules this earth, and he influences all the nations. And it's called the little satanic season. And the purpose of that is to test people. And there's a theory, he already ruled he came back in the apostles' lifetime and ruled. They already did that 1,000-year millennial, and now we're in the little season right now. Doesn't it seem like Satan is like influencing all the nations? Doesn't it seem like an evil world? Jamie, can you play this real quick? This video is called The Little Season Theory, and the YouTube channel is Understanding Conspiracies. The Little Season Theory #1.
But the basic premise to work off here is that what most modern Christians are waiting for today is the return of Jesus Christ after the tribulation. And we all have our eyes on the signs. We're trying to discern the signs around us, trying to determine who the Antichrist will be, what the mark of the beast will be. We're kind of looking for them and waiting for those signs to happen, which will be the signs of the coming of the Son of Man in the clouds, okay? Which will be tribulation, judgments, and then obviously a millennial reign is what people are waiting for. And people get to live with Christ for 1,000 years, as it says in Revelation 20. So people are pretty adamant we're living in that time. We're living in the time just before tribulation. It's just around the corner. It's just about to happen. Okay, and that's what people are pretty adamant where we are. That's the mainstream thought. This theory posits it's all already happened. We're not living in the times just before tribulation. We're living after the 1,000-year reign of Christ, which is basically called the little season, where Satan is let loose to deceive the nations, gather an army from the four corners of the earth to make war with the camp of saints. Most modern mainstream churchianity thinkers believe once tribulation happens, the eternal kingdom comes then. That's not what Revelation says. It says there is a 1,000-year reign of Christ. And then it says in plain English, when the 1,000 years has ended. So it's not eternal. It's a period of time that has a beginning and an end. Satan's let loose for a little season to deceive all the nations.
Don't let people who don't know the Bible explain to you what the Bible says. Jesus is coming.
Guys, watch this to the end.
Different people will buy a spot in a red room with crypto so they can't be traced. A red room in Thailand is a room where a child is murdered every 3 weeks. They are sacrificed. And the person that pays with the crypto gets to choose how that kid is murdered.
Let me know your thoughts and comments below.
Unfortunately, it's really happening.
When I tell you what this judge did to children and infants as young as 2 weeks old, you're gonna absolutely lose it. Now, I made a post about him last week, but since then, I have received a copy of the court documents, and the details of what's in there almost made me sick. Okay, so let's get into it. On Tuesday, September 16th, federal agents arrested the Charleston County, South Carolina magistrate judge, 68-year-old James Gosnell Jr. This was after they filed an 18-page criminal complaint alleging that he possessed CSAM, and not just that, but wait for it. Homeland Security investigations began probing him after receiving a tip from the National Center of Missing and Exploited Children. The tip was regarding several PayPal transactions to a known distributor of CSAM in the UK. That PayPal account came back to his name, his physical address, email address, IP address, phone number, everything. There were actually several different accounts, and they all came back to him. So when they went to talk to him, he asked them if they knew who he was, and they said that yes, they did. And they told him why they were there, and he actually led them to a USB drive that was plugged into his laptop and told them it would have hundreds of images and videos of CSAM, and it did. So they ended up seizing that flash drive plus 13 additional, his iPhone, computers, all kinds of electronics. And let me tell you some of the things they found. So they discovered that he had made friends with other people who share similar interests as him. The prosecutor said that their conversations contained unimaginably explicit information and details about how they plan to SA children together. One of the conversations between Gosnell and that man talk about him traveling to Florida, and then the two of them jointly grape, take the G off, and torturing the guy's nephew's infant son. They found conversations where he is literally bragging about previous SAs, including graping a 5-month-old baby that lives in his neighborhood.
5 months
Get ready for
old
this
baby?
one, guys. Oh my God. He told this guy about babysitting his neighbor's 3-month-old daughter. Apparently their babysitter had bailed on them that night and he volunteered. Now, I'm going to use code words here, but he told this man that when he was babysitting this 3-month-old little baby girl, he ate her puh and ah, and he 7 times, and she looked like a glazed donut.
Oh my goodness.
Can you imagine being the parents of that little girl or the others and finding out that this happened to your baby? Another thing they found was he had sent this man a selfie of himself with a 2-year-old little girl saying, "My new buddy," and later claimed that he had SA'd that child just a couple weeks prior. There were conversations between him and that other man where he talks about going to Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, where he allegedly bought a 2-year-old and 5-year-old child, and he told that man that he backdoor raped the 5-year-old. And he had sent this other PDF individual a photo of himself with a 2-week-old baby, admitting that he had orally SA'd that baby. They also found that this judge would hold Zoom meetings where he would actually teach other PDFs the tricks of the trade. Oh, and you know how I said that he went to Mexico to buy a 2-year-old and 5-year-old? Well, they found out that he traveled internationally in late summer of 2025, so not that long ago. And it doesn't say what he did there, but I think it's safe to assume why he went. Now, all of that stuff is just from the conversations he had with other people. The photos and videos are even worse. And this is a judge, somebody who's in a position of high power. When I tell you they lurk everywhere, they're everywhere. Now, the court documents with the details, I have them uploaded onto my Facebook, Abby Blabby True Crime and News, if you want to go over there and read them, but they're obviously horrendous.
2 weeks old? Man, this war is slowly killing my heart.